Welcome to Rosh Chodesh Club. It's before Shavuot, so the specialty today will be dairy.
Yeah.
Here with Chef Austin, excited to be back. What's going on?
Yeah, it's gonna be super fun. We're gonna be building a cheese board today. Should be great, and then we're gonna pair it with some phenomenal wine. I'm super excited about that.
And then we come with some gnocchi, chef special, some gnocchi.
Yeah,
so
great.
Thank you for joining us here today for this episode of Rosh Chodesh Club.
All right, welcome back. This is Chef Austin here at Tirasur with our fearless leader, Joseph. And we're gonna be doing a cheese board today, right? So I kind of have these all laid out in kind of strongest to mildest, I guess. And we're gonna start placing things and cutting stuff. So we're gonna start with the cheddar. Now the cheddar, because it's a stronger cheese, it's also hard and kind of crumbly. And you wanna work with different textures and things on your board instead of just doing slices, right? So the cheddar, I actually like to stick the tip of my knife into the block and kind of crumble it up into these chunks.
Cool.
Just to kind of give a little more texture.
Get some slices, cubes, chunks, got it, okay.
Exactly.
I'm digging this. So I have recently, I always like to add my commentary over here, my commentary here, but I have gotten into cheese lately, and I always liked picking up ideas, clues, and so for me it was always sliced, triangular, cubes, and that was, I liked it. I already learned something right at the start of the show.
So this is going to be the camembert. This is going to be, if you're into cheese, for sure pick this up. If you're new to cheese and you're adventurous, pick this up. Absolutely delicious. It's a sheep's milk cheese, kind of like a brie. But as you can see, there's a rind all the way around. Depending on which one you get, it could be, this one's a little firm. Sometimes they're a little soft in the center. Yeah, a little runny.
As it warms up, it's a little bit runny in the inside.
Yeah, so this one I'm just gonna simply cut in half. On your board, you're gonna wanna place, a couple picks, small cheese knives, things like that for people to cut into things.
So you see, we're gonna do this with red wine because we're going all this for a bigger cheese board meal, kind of Shavuot, the dairy concept, the kiddush. But when I do this for Sunday brunch, you know what wine I call it?
Oh yeah.
Bubbles. Method Champenois. But today, since we're going to be doing this into a meal, leading into the meal, we're going with a red wine. I chose a red wine on the lighter side so we could still bridge the gap. But with the funky cheeses, really we could go into bigger red wines. But for now, I'm going to start. Actually, chef, while you're having fun, I need to keep myself busy. I'm going to open the Pinot, and I'll be tasting those cheeses and drinking along the wine.
Perfect.
While we taste those cheeses.
Perfect.
If you don't mind, thank you.
So I went ahead and put on the blue cheese. I'm gonna the method to my madness, right, is put on the big things, and then we can put in some smaller things and then some smaller things to kind of fill in the board, make it look abundant. And the larger ones, are going to be kind of these ones that we're going to keep whole, right? So same with this goat cheese.
Now tell me, if you could educate me, please. Cheeses, I'm good. Where does the idea of the fruits, the pickled vegetables, the jams, the honey, all these, where do they play? What are the rules? I think our audience is quite new to this concept of cheese boards, but you want to give me kind of rules, what goes with what, honey, what goes with more spicy, what goes savory, what goes fruit, what goes pickled. How do you kind of play around? What's playing on your head when you do these things?
Yeah, so it's less about...
By the way, look at that, zoom in and get how he's doing the angulars on cutting that cheese. So that's
so we're just doing little triangles. So when it comes to what you're gonna, your kind of accompaniments, it's less about what goes with what and more about things breaking things up, right? So cheese is very, very rich, and they all have, I mean, depending on what you're gonna put on your board, there could be, just like with wine, right? There could be subtle flavor differences, and you have to have things that are gonna cleanse your palate and interest your palate to want to go try other things. So we're gonna put some fresh fruit on there. We're gonna put some pickles. We're gonna put some candy nuts and some toasted nuts to bring in some crunch, as well as the crackers, things along those lines that are just going to, and then you can also completely change flavors. Like your blue cheese is gonna be so good with honey or with the jam, because it is blue cheese is a strong flavor.
That's very potent.
And depending on which one you get, whether it be a Stilton or something along those lines, they can go from very strong to kind of more mild, right? And so if you're trying to get into these stinkier cheeses, things that I
put
love.
It mildly, no pun intended.
To kind of soften those is time to accompany them, especially with a jam or something along those lines.
So what I'm getting here, and correct me if I'm wrong, the wine with the cheese board is a totally opposite. The effect of it is the totally opposite of what you would usually have wine pairing with a meal. So usually your wine is what brings the meal together, and it's a perfect balance of the steak or the fish or whatever with that wine. Over here, we're using all these components to break up the cheeses and to add texture, because the cheese is all basically it's in one way or another, it's a soft or a mush. It's easy. There's no textures. The flavors are all over the place, but there's a lot of it's potent. So by bringing in these fruits, vegetables, nuts, jams, and wine, that's what you're breaking up and adding textures and adding different stuff into the mix. So I'm actually gonna grab some of your cheese with some wine.
Yeah.
I want to see how that actually. So we chose the Pinot Noir, either the lineage Pinot Noir. You want to go a step up. It's the Herzog Reserve Pinot Noir. But the idea is, it's not a white, it's a red, it's a fruity red. So it's actually the red wine that says cheese. I want to see actually how, the idea of the Pinot is, to me Pinot is it's gentle, it's elegant, it's fruit, it's flowers, it's a rose petal. It's perfect. It calls for the Shavuot time and it calls for the lighter meal. When you're having Kiddush, you're not having the full-blown meal. For those of you who are going to make the cheese your main meal, maybe with a blue cheese, maybe my mind is spinning. I might challenge Chef. I might go for something big. And this is as I'm talking here. But the idea is I want to see how this lighter, elegant wine is going to go with those cheeses. Chef, I don't know if you want to do this while you're cutting or doing, but
I'm going
please. For it. So this is the 22 Pinot Noir. Beautiful. I mean, you're getting the rose petals right in your nose.
I think you're going to want this with that. So wine,
which one?
You can definitely pair with cheese, and that is the smoked cheddar. Yeah.
So interesting. Why did you pick smoked cheese with a Pinot?
I don't know. I just tasted the wine, and beforehand.
Okay.
Beforehand, I tried all of these, and as soon as I tasted that, I just instantly thought of this, and you kind of get that.
So again, but it works in the concept. And I'm making this up while I'm talking, but this is. Simply going with opposites. The whole idea of the cheese and everything on there is that opposites attract. And I think the concept with a cheese board, very different than we've done in the past. These are opposites. The cheese are one direction, and it's not, you need to break it up. And the wine, or the Pinot in this case, is the opposite and kind of opposite attract. So I think that's what we're going with. So I get where it brings in, it's the finish of the cheese, where you have that little spicy, smoky note coming through, where actually that's where it binds perfectly with that Pinot.
Yeah. All right, so we're probably just gonna pick one more of these. So right now we have the Leicester over here. We have the I'm butchering these names, I'm sure. The Gloucester over here, the Camembert. This one that I just put here was the Gouda, which is fantastic. One of my favorites. Yeah, I would
That's
actually.
this one, right?
Yeah, I would actually say it's kind of leaning towards that stinky cheese, which I love. It's delicious.
Okay.
Camembert, the goat, and the blue, and then that smoked
Could I have a
cheddar.
piece of that blue? I want to taste it because I'm thinking
course.
about a different wine.
Oh, of course.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is a whole different world. Jonathan, could I challenge you? I need a bottle of the Double Creek Chalk Hill, the new Gen 8. Thank you.
All right, and last cheese I think we're gonna throw in here, we'll just do some cubes, is this Edam. This one is, of all of these, is definitely the softest, I would say.
So Edam, and that's the name of, these are all names of cheeses.
Correct, yeah.
Now, in wine, I could give you education of names of what they are. In terms of cheddar, I guess that's also a type of cheese or where it comes. Where do names for cheeses, what are all these names, what are they? Do you know the history? I'm just throwing it out.
Well, I know a lot of them are, can be regional, right? So Leicester and Gloucestershire, those are definitely regional. Cheddar is actually the style of making, it's cheddaring a cheese. It's the larger curds that are left and then they're pressed. Yeah, but I believe a lot of them are regional.
Okay.
And that's, I mean, Camembert comes from Camembert, right?
So it's almost like in the wine country. It's almost like the wine, like in France. The Chablis, the Sancerre, the Bordeaux, the regions that make those different wines or have those different, that's the region of the wine, not necessarily varietal. Same thing is probably with cheese.
Yeah, so a lot of them.
If you know and you want to educate us, please give us some comments. Let us know so we can educate ourselves better.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that a lot of them are actually protected. So just like Champagne and Champagne, France, right? Parmigiano Reggiano can only come from that region.
In Italy.
Otherwise, yeah, and that specific region in Italy. Otherwise, it can't be called that.
So we actually have, what do we have?
We don't have any Parm here,
no,
we like have that, but we do have the
English cheese, and then we have Swiss cheese, I believe. Holland cheese. Yeah. Holland.
Okay, so cheeses are on the board, right? And now it's kind of time to get fun and creative and move things around.
Another one? Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm going to take some of this honeycomb, and we're just going to fill in the empty spaces. You can see I put down some parsley, and that's again just to try to fill in those empty spaces. So honeycomb here. We're going to take a couple strawberries.
And this is the Mashgiach checked it. So all these greens, all the vegetables, everything is out of the kitchen. We're working out of here because we're doing dairy, so that's why we're not doing anything in the kitchen. Although the gnocchi that we're going to be doing, we'll be doing there and finishing here. But everything checked, cleaned, rinsed in the restroom. I'll move this out of your way. So what I'm doing, chef, while you prepare that, this is totally out of the box. We just released a new wine in the level of Generation 8.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily for what we're trying to do at the RCC, but the Rosh Chodesh Club. But that blue cheese is calling for this one. So this is our Generation 8 that we have out, the Paris, that's Napa Valley. The new Generation 8 is out of Chalk Hill. So what we've been doing in the past is we've been building that Napa AVA, sub-AVA, which is the appellations. And now we're digging into Sonoma and special into Chalk Hill. And the special single vineyard, newly planted vineyard, fantastic site. And this wine speaks for itself. And it's gonna stand up to that big, funky cheese, as you said.
Awesome. Well, funny enough, I actually have some of those grapes that you gave me.
You're kidding me.
Oh, right here, yeah. These are exactly
these
those.
These are the wine grapes. I remember when I brought them in.
Yep.
So these are the Double Creek that we took off the sorter, and
we took them and pickled them. Yep.
All right, they taste nothing. This is pickled, so I'm not gonna have the wine with pickled, but coincidence. pickled Double Creek Cabernet Sauvignon grapes with the Double Creek Cabernet Sauvignon right here.
Super fun.
That is looking beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, we're getting there, right?
So we have, that's a goat cheese, right?
This is a goat cheese here.
And you said camembert is also goat cheese?
So camembert, I believe, is sheep's cheese. Yeah.
Okay.
But goat cheese doesn't have to be, goat cheese can be, well, it's just any cheese made from goat's milk, right? But when you say goat cheese, everybody thinks of that traditionally, yeah. So pickled carrots, what I put here was some apricots, some pickled apricots.
So we got grapes, so we got fresh, pickled, and then you're adding the component of nuts to it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, there's no rules of what cheese with what. You just want to keep your mouth, you just want to keep different flavors.
Yep, and mixing, I mean, you can eat it by itself, you can eat it with a strawberry. I mean, look, that blue cheese, to me, I want to eat it with that strawberry right now. You can kind of pick and mix and match and do stuff. If you're the type of person who doesn't like your food to touch, this probably isn't the thing for you to do. But
I think if you're okay with all these cheeses and with the smelly of funky cheeses, you're okay with that.
Yeah, that's true. Some hazelnuts. Those were some candied
walnuts.
Yes, walnuts. I was going to say pecans, but those are walnuts. Those are some candied walnuts. Some pistachios. Cool.
Now,
what other fun things?
The honeycomb seems to be a little odd, but I would tell you, honeycomb with some of these cheeses are a fantastic pair. Really fantastic. Not the honeycomb cereal, though.
So this is the Tuscanini lemon ginger jam that we have here. A lot of cheese boards have jams or fruit preserves on them. Quince, for instance, is very traditional.
Orange marmalade.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
We're gonna put that on there. And then...
Oh, we're going for the chili?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna...
It's actually quite sweet, so it has this sweet and spice.
I think I'm gonna drizzle this on our goat cheese, because I think it's gonna be really tasty.
Shout out to Charles on that new product, Tuscanini new product, amazing.
And that's one thing too that you can do with your cheeses and your boards, right? Your camembert or a brie, you could totally keep that whole and heat it in the oven first.
Really?
Yeah, and it's really delicious.
Then you get it more runny, and then you could just smear it on the cracker.
Yep. And so what you do is you heat it in the oven. When it comes out, take a paring knife and cut around, take that off, and then it's almost a dip.
Now,
really nice.
So if you're gonna serve at room temperature, or if you're gonna do it as a dip, do you put it back into that? I don't want to call it moldy.
The rind.
Rind?
Yeah.
So the rind, you keep the rind, you eat the rind on its own, or you put it back, you warm it up, and you put it back in the rind?
You heat the whole thing. So if you're heating it up with the rind, it acts as a bowl.
Got it. So that stays. So you cut off the top.
You do eat that. I mean, you don't have to. My wife, for instance, doesn't like to eat that.
But if you're gonna eat it regularly, yes, you cut a slice and you eat it.
Yeah.
Which crackers do you want with that?
I'll let you pick.
I'm gonna go with either the plain or the rosemary.
Rosemary sounds great.
Truffle is gonna be a little bit overpowering, I think. But either.
These crackers you can absolutely put on your board, but if you're anything like me, my board is always full of cheese and other fun things, and I always forget about the crackers. So you can leave them in the packaging or get a wonderful basket and put them on the side. You can also, like when I make cheese boards and things at home, I make little crostinis, and we have all different kinds of crackers. Yep.
Slice it up, toast it.
Yep, different flavors, things like that. But yeah.
All right,
I think that'll...
Now I saw you brought some plastic spoons because we don't have dairy regular spoons.
Yes, sir. All right, so I think it's time to dig into this, right?
Let's go. I'll move this out of your way.
Perfect. Ooh, I'm excited.
You got the peanut?
I do have the peanut. If I could get a little bit more, that'd be awesome. Thank you so much.
There we go. Move this out of the way. Done with this.
Got some spoons here. Gonna come in handy for some of these softer cheeses. Here, we'll just pretend like these are cheese knives, right? Thank you.
Yep. All right.
So, yeah, that's delicious. I love sweet and goat cheese. And then the spice kind of kicks it up. Really nice. I have a fun family story about cheese boards. My cousin, every time we have a family event, my mom always puts out a big cheese board. And I kid you not, my cousin could probably put this thing the whole thing down by himself. It's impressive every single time I see it.
It's interesting, but the cheese grows on you. As you do it, you do the first time, the next time.
Yeah, it's definitely can be more of an acquired taste.
I promise you, feedback we're gonna get, the brunch idea. It's gonna grow on all of them.
Okay.
Hey, well, I shouldn't be going into this now. Some honey for this? Honey for blue cheese?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, see how that overpowers the peanut? That honey on that blue cheese, yeah, but it totally, no, it doesn't work. You want to pass me the glasses?
And that blue cheese just by itself, it
The
definitely
blue cheese
overpowers.
With that honey. But here, look at that color. So this is new, being released for Shavuot. Again, like I said, the Generation 8 level. This is not an everyday wine, definitely not. But you get that fruit, you get that, this is... So this cuts through everything. This one is big enough.
Yeah. Much better. And I actually think the cheese kind of brings out more of the fruit notes in the wine. Personally.
You get more blueberry, you get more blue fruit. It does bring out the blue components of the fruit, definitely. All right, what else have we got? So we got the blue cheese, we got, I want to try the cheddar. This is the regular cheddar, right?
That's the what is it called? Mature cheddar.
Mature.
Yeah, yeah.
Do I have it with anything or just
I think
it is?
that's up to you. Right, and that's the fun thing about these boards is if you want to try the blue with the honey, and then you want to try it with a strawberry, and then you want to try it with another cheese if you want, you can mix and match. That's kind of the whole fun part about it, right?
I'm not doing it all by myself, all right? Gotta go into the camembert. Chef, you ready for a challenge?
Always.
The next dish that you're cooking for Shavuot is gnocchi.
Okay.
Now for Shavuot and gnocchi, we don't usually get to do that, but nothing better. Or we have to use cheese into it. It almost feels like I'm doing skillet all over again. Here's your challenge. We're doing gnocchi. I want you to use cheese from this cheese board into that.
Cool.
Into the gnocchi.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to have, it's Shavuot, it's a dairy meal. I want to have all that cheese. I want to have that creamy, beautiful, creamy gnocchi.
Fantastic. Yeah, let's get after it.
All right. All right, welcome back to Rosh Chodesh Club Shavuot episode. We did the cheese boards, you saw the cheese boards, took a few minutes to reorganize, and Chef is back with gnocchi.
Yeah, absolutely. So thought I'd just go kind of over our new mise en place, right, that we have in front of me. So I have some eggs, some salt, some white pepper, some garlic chives for a little garnish, some butter, onions, flour, and potatoes that we have baked in the oven, 350 degrees, 45 minutes to an hour, just until they're soft, depends on the size. And some heavy cream. So pretty straightforward today, but we're gonna start making our gnocchi.
So we're doing a dairy for Shavuot again, dairy gnocchi with some cream and cheese. Beautiful, I'm excited.
Yeah, it should be fun, right?
So this is the baked potato that we're gonna do. We're gonna rice it.
Yeah, so we're just gonna put it through our
dairy grater that we have. That's why it looks the way it looks.
Yeah. So take the skins off. You can, you know, if you don't want to go through all this work, you can certainly use these products here. But you know, we're Tiercer. We like to do everything.
100%.
Right?
So this, whoever wants to cheat sheet, this is your cheat sheet. I don't shelf stable, frozen product, but we're going to be making it from scratch. I'm going to be learning. Hope you will be learning of making. So I've played around. I'll tell you a secret. We're doing gnocchi on Pesach. So Passover I did potato starch, the rice potatoes, played around the eggs the right amount, and I did a beautiful gnocchi. Actually, it was meat, so it was my pulled brisket gnocchi. It was fantastic. But I'm excited over here to try the dairy and see some dairy secrets over here to incorporate.
Yeah, it should be fun. So when we're talking about gnocchi, couple things that you should know. So I like to bake my potatoes. I don't like to boil my potatoes. Reason being is water. Personally, I like my my gnocchi to be like light, fluffy clouds. I don't like dense, chewy gnocchi, which is why I usually always tend to make it myself, because I just am very particular. And so when you introduce water, what you have to do then is introduce more flour, which then
makes them more gooey, like more gluten.
Yep, more gluten, more dense, more chewy. And then the other thing is your selection of your types of potatoes. So these are just russet potatoes. You want a floury potato, which would be like a russet potato, same that you'd want to use for French fries or something like that. You don't really want, you can use them, but you'll get a better product if, or end product, if you use something more along the lines of this. Something like a Yukon Gold or a red potato, they have, they're just a little.
The texture is different. So it's,
yeah.
Right, it's a different texture.
Great for mashed potatoes, not so great for.
And also, that doesn't turn colors. This does turn colors.
Correct. Yeah.
Right, so that's the potatoes. I'm excited seeing the cream here, and then obviously some butter. So turning things up a bit.
Yeah. So this one we're going to kind of do all at the same time. The sauce is going to come together pretty quick. So we'll just get started with these.
Wait, I see no bowl. You're going to be doing it actually right there on the.
Oh yeah.
On the cutting on the board. You're going to be mixing your flour and everything on there. All right. Excited.
Just make a little well.
Yeah. I've seen them, but I've never seen them in real. I thought it was what happens, the magic on the camera side. So now we'll get to see it live.
So, like Joseph was saying, if you have a potato ricer, definitely use that. It is a much more consistent product there. These potatoes, we roasted off and then let them sit for about 20 minutes, so they're cool enough to
So what was it?
handle.
It was an hour on 350, 375? What was
350. 350. And yeah, it just depends on, you know,
your oven.
Your oven.
Convect.
Yeah, do you have
We had
convection? Do you not have convection? Is the potato big? Is the potato small?
I'm actually excited to see what the wine is going to do because it did sit for a while. I know you told me you think of the Jonate, the bigger cab is going to be the star of the show over here. So I'm excited now with bottle being open, breathing, to see what changed on that one.
Yeah,
that's always, again, you try it right away, you see how it tastes, and then as you develop my wine part in the show, my contribution here in the show is that wine knowledge. So the breathing, to see how the wine develops. I don't like decanters, I don't like aerators, because I like to see the process. I like to taste the bottle when you open it, keep on going back and tasting the wine again, and see how the wine is developing. I think that's amazing. Unless if you're going to sit down, you don't have the time and you want the wine, then yes, go ahead, use the decanter, use the aerator. But if you have the time, just keep on tasting, see the process, see how the wine evolves. All right, chef, what's going on? There goes your well.
Yep. So we got our potatoes, right? This is one of those. I will do my best to get you a recipe, but this is one of those things that is you kind of do it by feel.
Yeah, my mother said a pinch of salt, a cup of sugar, or whatever, a handful of sugar.
A handful of this, two handfuls of that, right? So we're gonna season a couple pinches of salt. Flour.
Only egg yolks, or no, just the whole eggs?
Just using whole eggs. You do need some moisture, which the egg yolks are really going to bring in fat. They don't bring in much moisture when you're talking about like pasta making and things like that. But you do need some moisture to kind of activate that gluten and to help this kind of come together. So, as you can see, still a bit wet, so we're gonna add a little more flour.
Okay. What are the onions? I see the onions there.
Onions are gonna be for the sauce.
Got it. Alrighty, so we got gnocchi going. I'm gonna pour some wine. What do you want to try? You want to go back to Pinot? Start with Pinot or go straight for the Gen 8?
Well, why don't we have a little Pinot first?
So how's your gnocchi coming along, chef?
It's going well. We had a little break there, so just to catch you all up. Obviously, I split this into kind of more of a 2-portion piece, and I also added a little more flour and an egg yolk. The egg yolk is just going to add a little strength to the gnocchi.
Okay. Now, you're going to put it into the pot and then get to your sauce, or you're going to, what's the timing?
Yeah, so I am done with that. So I will say, if you wanted to, you could certainly make the gnocchi ahead of time, and just put it on a sheet pan or whatever.
On a cloth, right? On something on a cloth, not to get soggy.
Yep, you can either and then drizzle a little olive oil, and it'll stay nice. And then you can just reheat in the pan or reheat in the oven, or just reheat it really quickly in some more boiling water. But we're just going to do this all kind of a la minute. So.
Okay, beautiful. Cheers.
Cheers.
How high do you want it?
High heat is perfect for right now.
All right. So we got butter.
Yep.
Onions.
Yep, so we're gonna wait for this to melt, and then we're gonna add in our onions, season, and then we're gonna add in our garlic, and then just a pinch of flour and our cream.
And you told me something before. I asked you had black pepper grinder on the table. I asked you, you're gonna use it. You said, no. This is all white, so you don't use black pepper, you're gonna use white pepper.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that actually comes from my days in school. And I had a chef instructor who really laid into me one time when I put black pepper into my mashed potatoes, and I will never do that again.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So if you get enough of a beating, you never do that again.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. So we're going to be using white pepper. The one thing I'll mention about white pepper, you really want to be just a little bit. A little bit goes a long way, especially with the...
It's also more of a flour texture than the regular black pepper, right? That has more of a, what's like a cakey, what's the right word? It's not a cake, it's more, again.
I mean, it's definitely much finer. That's for sure. But the reason why you want to, these are our onions that we just sliced up. Reason why you want to, specifically with the, if you put too much, there's too much of a good thing, right, is definitely a thing when it comes to white pepper, because it starts to smell like a barnyard floor. And that comes from the same chef that laid into me about that, because I put too much white pepper one time. But yeah, it really does. It starts to kind of overpower.
All right, so there we get the onions.
Perfect. We're just gonna let those cook down.
Oh, and seasoning, I saw you didn't put any seasoning into the gnocchi part. You're putting all the seasoning into the sauce?
I put a little bit into the
salt.
potato.
You put salt, right?
And I also put salt into the water.
Okay.
But yeah, our sauce is going to be
the main
super
seasoning
flavorful because of the white pepper, and that cheese is going to bring it.
So what cheese are we putting in here?
Blue cheese.
So we're using the blue cheese we had on the board that's going in here.
Yeah.
So yes, it's going to be a little potent in terms of the sauce.
And these onions, we're not trying to caramelize them. We're just trying to sweat them down until they're translucent. And right before that happens, we're going to add in our garlic. We wait because the garlic can burn really fast. And our garlic, we have, if you have like a garlic press, you could certainly use that, but I've just done it on the microplane, so it's very finely chopped. You can also use a knife, but I want to make sure that it's evenly distributed throughout the whole dish.
What do you say to the wine?
It's nice. It's nice. It's a nice starter, especially with the cheese board.
It's light.
Before we get into something
full of flavor,
yeah.
Nice, not heavy, light fruit, strawberries, the roast better. My typical, it's actually beautiful Pinot Noir. Great summer wine as well. All right, so here we're getting the onions.
Yeah.
Then gnocchi, and then we're gonna try the bigger wine. We got some truffles there. What do you want to tell me about the truffles?
We're gonna garnish.
So that's gonna be for the garnish, and a little.
Put in like right before, just a little bit, right before we serve. And then we're gonna garnish with those garlic chives just to bring in some freshness, because everything is gonna be very rich.
And with truffles, a little goes a long way. I mean, if you put too much truffles, you kind of.
Yeah,
I know it's the restaurants that like telling you how expensive, but in my opinion, too much truffles just kills the dish. You don't want too much.
There's also a big difference between fresh truffles and something like these. They're
white truffles and black truffles.
Yeah, and they both certainly have their place. But we're going to be using these Tuscany canned truffles or jarred truffles.
Well, while we're doing this, I think let me also speak about overall the Rosh Chodesh Club. One of the things that we want to do for the Rosh Chodesh Club is, I think it's kind of boring always having me and chef. We're going to be introducing some different chefs, different characters that we'll bring into this show to make this show more exciting and more fun. So I'll still be working on the wine side on that, but I want to have, maybe you do better with other characters, huh?
It'll be fun. It'll be fun. We'll miss you though.
I'll be here. Don't worry. I'll be here. If I won't be sitting here, I'll be standing on the other side.
That's true.
Oh, now you get the garlic. Beautiful.
Right, so we just added the garlic. That was about, 4, 5 cloves.
And the flour is almost doing a jus. Is that the right? What is the right word when you do? A roux.
Yeah. And what the flour is going to do for us? I'm actually going to add a little more margarine or butter here. Sorry, I'm always used to margarine here. What the flour is going to do for us is make sure that our cheese doesn't break
really?
The sauce. Yeah. So when using cheese, like real cheese versus non-dairy stuff,
using like American cheese,
you have to be delicate Can't get too. Will you pass me that cream, please? Thank you so much.
Yeah, it wasn't mixed.
So when we're adding the cream, we're going to be fine. We're actually going to reduce this a bit. Try not to make whipped cream again.
Need it back on?
Yes, please. But once we add to get back to it, we're going to reduce this by about half to make double cream, right? And then we're going to add our cheese. But when we add our cheese, we're really going to turn the heat down and make sure that the highest it ever gets is a very light simmer.
What does that do? What, if it's too high, what happens?
If it's too hot, you're going to split. It'll break.
It's just going to be piecey.
Yeah, and texturally, it won't be smooth anymore. You'll get kind of those. Some cheeses are harder to deal with than others. Blue cheese is pretty nice, at least it has been to me in the past. But cheddar, like a real cheddar cheese, can be quite tricky.
Really? So this is something that this is new tricks to my toolbox, as they say. Chef, this is looking really good.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, right?
This looks real, wow. And now I got tricks to take home. I have learned a lot in this, just with how to do the cheese component. I always thought mac and cheese is just easy. You just do mac and cheese or any type of pastas. But now I got some tricks now.
Yeah,
I'm excited to go back home and pull some tricks.
All right, so what we're basically making right now is a bechamel sauce, which is just roux and cream or milk.
Okay.
And then once you start adding things to that, that's when it becomes other names, right? So we're going to be turning this into a mornay by adding cheese to it. It's going to be a blue cheese mornay, right? But a little different. And then, you know, a normal bechamel doesn't have the onions and the garlic and all that kind of stuff. It's just a starting point.
Okay. Could I grab a spoon and taste it?
Yes, please do. I would actually love one to double check it. Thank you. So, bit of salt. Like I said, be really spare with the white pepper. I'd say that was maybe an eighth of a teaspoon. A little bit goes a long way here. Depending on what season you're making this, you could certainly add nutmeg to this. I mean, you don't have, it doesn't depend on the season. I just like, nutmeg to me is more fall, winter.
Okay.
But you could absolutely add different spices to this. The right way on this.
This is fun. You always cook meat. We're always doing meat. And it's another cut, another thing, another application. This is something new. This is exciting. And I love expanding, I'm sure all of you, expanding your dairy horizons. This is, how would you incorporate, if you're doing gnocchi, what is your go-to protein, especially you're doing a dairy, so it's going to be fish, or what is your proteins that you would go to? And how would you prepare it?
Talking kosher or non-kosher?
Obviously kosher, our audience. Kosherdotcom, come on, kosher.
Are you talking, sorry, can you repeat the question?
So you put, the gnocchi is going to be a dish, what's the right word? Accompaniment to something, right? So it's going to be, what would you serve to gnocchi? Is gnocchi your main dish? Is it going to be protein, fish? What is it? Same thing, but what is it going to, what will you serve it with?
Sorry, cut really good. Can you do chicken and?
No.
No, so it's just fish.
It's basically fish. Fish, veg, yeah.
So what I would do, and I've made this in the past, it's very, very good, is you could pretty much make this sauce, maybe change up the cheese a bit instead of using a blue, but using something like a mozzarella or a cheddar or something like that. I love cheddar cheese and broccoli. It is so good.
Okay.
And you could do that with gnocchi. You could make this sauce with the cheddar again and broccoli and do like a pasta instead. And you can add other
Would you do a salmon, like
that.
a seared or something, cubed salmon or something on this dish or no?
I don't know. To me, fish and cheese, it's not that I don't know. I don't know.
In his world, it's meat and cheese, but
Yeah.
fish and cheese, no.
Cheese is kind of unless I think the only time that I've had fish and cheese is the McDonald's filet of fish sandwich.
All right, I'm gonna take that all back.
All right, so we have mixed in our blue cheese, and we're just gonna let that kind of melt slowly. And you can kind of already smell that.
So now all you need is the gnocchi and dump it into the pot,
Absolutely.
and we're done. Wow.
Do you mind keeping stirring that for me? So our dough is done. You can kind of see it was nice and we could roll it out before, and as it sat, it's kind of started to
deflated.
absorb that flour, so it's starting to stick again. So we're just gonna add just a little bit more, just so we don't stick to the board while we're going here. And at home, you know, you can make these as big or as small as you'd like. You can make them into different shapes.
I like if you're gonna serve it for a main that it's a little bigger,
Yeah.
bigger dumpling or bigger gnocchi. So if you leave it in the water boiling for too long, what happens?
It will fall apart.
So there's really a magic floating or magic timing of
Yeah.
how long you leave it in the water.
Yeah. Just like anything, you know, if you're making pasta, it's gonna fall apart. If you leave it in for too long, you walk away for 15
Yeah, my wife did it yesterday with the rice noodles. So. I'm really excited about this.
Me too. Good.
Would help if you have an exhaust, I'm sure at home you do. Then the blue cheese wouldn't be right in your face.
I don't mind it so much though. I guess if you're extra sensitive to it. But again, you can change these
Cheeses.
things out with different cheeses. I think it's gonna be.
So you say someone that doesn't want to do blue cheese, you would say cheddar is the one you would go
Yeah.
in its place.
Yeah. Cheddar, or if you wanted to go something a bit easier, that Gouda that we had earlier, that would be a really nice, easy one to do. Something that is unaged, like
Got it. So you don't want a 6 month, 9 month, 3 year. None of it. You want like a 3 month aged cheese.
Yeah, something a little bit younger.
All right, we're multitasking. So while that is happening, are we gonna do some big red wine, and we want to taste the Gen 8 to get ready for the? All right.
So what I'm doing is just waiting for these to kind of float to the top, and then hold them.
Look at that color. So I'm excited, as I said before, about the Generation 8 Double Creek. This is a brand new vineyard, as I said before, in the Chalk Hill region. Actually, we'll be doing something, a different video, speaking about total Sonoma and all the different sub-appellations in Sonoma. We've done that a lot about Napa. I'm happy and excited that we're expanding the Sonoma Coast AVAs. But this vineyard, and David, you're gonna have to do a job in showing the videos and pictures of this vineyard. This is a beautiful hillside, 4 different plots of land. Every plot so different and unique of the other. And the concentration and the fruit that we got, there's a reason of why this made it into the Generation 8, not into any other label. Oh. Big, bold, peppery, fruity, forest, dark pine nuts. Oh, excited. Right, sorry. You still want me to move anything around there, or are you taking over? All right, go ahead.
Over a little bit. So, like I said earlier, this is a personal thing. I like my gnocchi a little bit more delicate, and so I'm not going to agitate these too much because I don't want them to break.
All right, the art of the plating. Okay, the idea is the diet starts after Shavuot, right?
Yeah, with all this cream and cheese, absolutely.
There goes. You need another.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. So like we said, a little bit goes a long way with those. And then because this is so rich, we have some really nice garlic chives that are in season right now.
So is the garlic chives, are those baby garlic? Or they're called garlic chives?
They're called garlic chives, yeah. They're Japanese garlic chives. And they do have kind of that oniony flavor, but also they bring in that garlic.
Okay, beautiful.
Nice. All right,
Alrighty.
clean up really quick, and then should we taste this?
Yeah, we're gonna jump in, dive into it.
Ooh, I'm excited for this.
Thank you, Charles, again. Anybody that doesn't want to go through that whole process and not have to clean up afterwards could just use this, right? All right, here's my wine. Important. Alrighty.
You first.
Yeah, I'm just making sure I'm getting all the components. The truffle, the chive, gnocchi, the cheese, the blue cheese. Wow. That heavy cream really is the trick there. Now we need wine to cut through all of this. Yeah.
That actually works.
That works really well.
Really good.
That works really well.
Yeah.
Happy Shavuos. Enjoy. L'chaim.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you, Chef.
Absolutely.
Look forward to hearing your feedback. L'chaim.